What's up, everybody? What's going on? Just talking from Texas. I hope everybody is having a good night. It's early morning down here in the South, and we just having some great conversation with myself. Trying my best to get into more so of going live a whole lot more often than I normally do because it's good for the channel, especially when you're in growing zone and it's not really growing. Everything comes with time, so I gotta go live and have conversations sometimes. But however, just want to, talk about some of the things that are happening and going on around us. So much. There's so much that's being taken place. It's amazing. It's amazing how the world has changed in so many different orders. So much has changed, especially when it comes to the news and it comes to sources and different things that's going on. Everybody have their own opinion about how things are moving, and I don't mind different forms of opinion or however people desire to shape their opinion and desires. I have no problem with that. It's always good. It's always good news. It's always good news to have an opinion. I think that's one of the things that a lot of people lack is allowing others to have opinions. A lot of people lack the desire of allowing people to have their own opinion and address things to what they feel like they want to address, or rather more believing in an opinion and allowing that opinion to resonate so that both parties can have a better mutual understanding in opinions. So that is where we at. We just having a conversation and try our best. We try our best to keep things respectful, keep things to keep you to keep people from being blocked. I don't like blocking people, but sometimes you have to do that because you get those disrespectful ones. You get people who want to, you know, uh, get on the channel and not have good conversation. They just want to play around on the internet, especially at 5 in the morning, playing on the internet. So if y'all not doing nothing, I do ask that you subscribe to the channel and become one of the persons to join in on topics, to join in on conversations that we have, legitimate conversation. First, that's just what it is. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are excited about some of the things that are going on and some things that we are not excited about. There's some things that we're not excited about, especially what's going on with Iran and Israel and all that stuff. It's a lot of fighting. There's a lot of wars going on. There's a lot of people pissed off these days. So many people are pissed off about a lot of things, whether they're pissed off about the election, they're pissed off about the terms of election, they're still pissed off about Trump, they still pissed off about Republicans, Republicans versus, I guess that they would call it them against the world, them against the world. So everybody is against everybody right now. But why? I don't really know. I don't really know why so many people are so upset and feel like that the world is against them, but the world is not against you. Especially once you have an opinion. So if you believe in a certain party when it comes to political standings, or either when it comes to the immigration policy, if you have a certain party that you like, a certain party that you agree with, it's always good to respect that other person's party and their belief system when it comes to that, because not everybody's going to have the same belief system. So many people dislike other people's belief system. They don't want to respect other people's goals and their place. So what I have come to find out is that when people don't want to respect your belief system, especially when it comes to politics, the best thing to do is just go ahead and separate yourself from those people, because they are not understanding what you understand. People are falling out behind political issues, family members not talking to each other. I've seen it. I've seen family members fall out behind politics, fall out behind discussions, cultural matters and things like that. And that's kind of strange to me, because I don't believe in falling out with people. I don't believe in falling out because I have a belief when it comes to politics, political issues, and political standings and things of that sort. If you believe a certain thing, and you have a certain respect and dignity for that thing, it's okay to have an opinion. It's okay to believe a certain thing, to believe what you believe. If somebody don't believe in your political standings, or believe in what you like to do, or believe in where you stand when it comes to Republican, when it comes to Democrat, when it comes to stuff like that, you know, and I think it has a whole lot to do with mental. It's the mental part, mental. You know, this entire political trauma within the past 10 years has been so horrible. I believe that so many people really need counseling, because the hate has went up to a whole nother level. The hate has went to another level that I have never seen before. The whites against the blacks against the whites, the Mexicans against the blacks, the Mexicans against the whites, other cultures are against everybody. Everybody just literally just done lost their damn minds when it comes to it. I believe that there's so many people have literally lost their minds in this whole political scene. A lot of people lost their minds in the whole political scene. It's a shame. It's a shame that you allow yourself to even get to a point where you are seen as a different person when you don't believe the way I believe, or I don't believe the way you believe when it comes to politics. And it's okay. It's okay to have your own opinion when it comes to politics. It becomes a problem when you try to push your politics on somebody else that do not believe like you. Okay. If I don't believe like you politically, that doesn't mean that I am a bad person. It doesn't mean that I am influential. It doesn't mean that it don't mean that my family don't like me because I don't believe the way you do. And I think that that is one of the mess ups and the crime scenes of the mind that people do, they try to make people believe like them and get mad when they don't believe as such. That's where the problem comes in at. That's what the problem. And if we continue to walk in that same kind of mindset, that builds up a form of pridefulness. It builds up pridefulness. It builds up neglect. It builds up irresponsibility. It builds up an ugly place in the minds of people. So if you desire to have a certain mindset, okay, if you desire to have a certain mindset when it comes to politics, that's cool. But don't allow this political arena to bring you to a place of where you hate everything around you, or you hate being in conversation. Because I've noticed that when you're talking to certain people about politics, the entire conversation goes to hate. It goes to malice. It goes to it goes to something else. These days you can't even discuss politics. You can't even discuss politics in the restaurant no more, because people ready to fight. They're ready to fight because you don't believe like they do, or you have a different opinion. People don't know how to sit down and be real and be respectful when you're talking about something. When you're in conversation with somebody, I think this land need to get back to knowing how to effectively communicate with another party. I think that's where we're losing at. We're losing at knowing how to effectively communicate with another party. If you miss out on effective communication, that's one of Everything around you is formed around communication. Everything around you is formed around communication. Everything around you is formed out of being able to open up your mouth and speak, in any form, whether it's intelligently, whether it's intellectually, whether it's with positivity, or whether it is with harm, or threat, or whether it is with a certain commotion. It doesn't matter. When you learn how to effectively communicate your opinions about politics and political standings, you need to have the ability to convince the other party that you are open to a conversation that's going to work, not just for you, but also for the entire conversation. And that's why I stopped talking about politics to people, especially in person, because it goes to a place where it shouldn't go to. It consistently goes to a place that it shouldn't go to. I don't know how to have that conversation with someone that is an idiot. Okay. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to have a conversation with somebody uh, that is challenged mentally. And they are challenged mentally because they are willfully desiring to walk in the spirit of retardation. They willfully desires to walk in the spirit of retardation. And if a person desires to walk and converse in the spirit of retardation, I cannot continue to uphold a conversation with that person because they will never take on the effectiveness of the argument. They will never be able to take on the effectiveness of an argument. That's why you can't talk to a lot of people about these things, to politics, and even spiritual things, or just normal everyday things. People are losing their effectiveness in communication. So many people are losing their effectiveness in communication, and if you don't know how to communicate appropriately with people, and it gets to a point where you are being disrespectful in your approach and being disrespectful and when you're talking about something, point example would be Twitter. I had to get off Twitter. I had to completely remove myself from Twitter. Twitter was off the chain. It's off the chain. I understand Elon Musk took over Twitter and he tried to create it around this whole freedom of speech and make sure people have the option and an opinion to have a decent live conversation with each other without being scared to be blocked, or being scared to have their pages tore down that they built and things like that. I understand what Elon Musk was doing when he bought Twitter. It was actually a pretty good thing when he got Twitter, and I was down with the cause. But never in 1,000 years would I imagine that someone would get on Twitter and blatantly call you a nigger just because you have an opinion. What? You know, that's where the problem lies. See, freedom of speech does not mean freedom of disrespect. You know, Society, we got to get that down pat. Freedom of speech does not mean disrespect. It does not mean to commit a crime with your speech. It does not mean that you have the power and the authority to build up hate. It doesn't mean that you have the power and the authority to build up so much hate while you're speaking until you come to a point where your disrespect is gone to a level of hate. Okay. That comes with not being able to effectively communicate and have a conversation. Twitter, X, whatever they call it. I got off of that. I got off of Twitter. I got off of X. The blankly disrespect wasn't good for me. It wasn't good for my mental place. It wasn't good for my psyche. It wasn't good for me psychologically. Because I'm the type of person where if you keep disrespecting me, I will go out of my way to find out where you at. I want to know where your ass at. Just plain and simple. I want to know where you at. I want to know where you're located. I want to know. I'm gonna have to do some research and run your pictures with a software and try to locate your mama house. and come and pay you a visit and have a conversation and talk to you, my dear. I need to know where you're located because you're getting to a point where you're so disrespectful. Okay, but that is the world, and that is the world that we live in right now, where people is okay with different forms of disrespect. They okay with that. People like disrespect, and that's just what it is. That is the hour. That is the time that we live in, where disrespect is good, So that's what led me away from Twitter. That's what led me away from it. I just couldn't take it. I just couldn't personally handle it because you just never know that when you'll run into somebody. You'll never know when you'll see somebody. I have been on social media before where I went to a store, went to the mall, and somebody pulled me over and like, hey, you Trey. Yeah, yeah, I'm Trey. I saw you on TikTok. Man, you be talking that noise. Man, I like what you talk about. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, man. When then we move on and go about our business, hey, follow me, I follow you, cool, whatever. Sometimes, if it's worth it, we'll change phone numbers and develop a friendship out of that process. But what if I was so bluntly disrespectful online, or they were bluntly disrespectful online, and I saw you in person, and I want to know, is the inner energy, is the energy the same? Can we replicate the same energy that you displayed on the internet? And that's what a lot of people mess up at, where they feel like that this internet is their saving grace, and not knowing that you never know when somebody gonna see you in person and happen to get an opportunity to knock your block off. You don't want your block to be knocked off, do you? You don't want that for your life, you know. So that's why I had to dislocate and dismantle myself from some social media platforms and get back into. I had to dismantle myself from some social media platforms and get back on TikTok, because TikTok is a little bit more stern, with a little bit more rules. Of course, you still have your hate on TikTok. You still have your disrespectful comments, but it's kind of monitored and filtered a little bit more than it is with Twitter. With X, it's a lot more monitored. So getting on other platforms for me, Twitter, YouTube is a little monitored. I'm just now getting back on YouTube. Y'all follow me if you can. I appreciate you. I'm just a little dude, fat, short dude from Texas, and just talking to the people. But X and Twitter, I just couldn't handle. I couldn't handle the disrespectful of comments and conversation that people say, because I know that without a shadow of a doubt, that the things that you would say on the internet, you would never say that to my face. I wouldn't allow you to. That is something that I do know without a shadow of a doubt, that the things that people would say, that the things that people would say on the internet, they would never say that, say those words directly to my face. There's no possible way. There's no possible way that you would say that to my face. So that's just what it is. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for for being a man of good character and knowing how to effectively communicate with people without drama. Without drama. Effectively communicating with learning to communicate with people without drama, because there was a time in my past life where my communication was messed up too. I didn't know how to effectively communicate without cursing. I was one of the first people. I will call you a motherfucker at any moment. I will call you out your name. I will disrespect you and everything around you. I will call you something that is so detrimental for your mind's sake, until you will literally be ready to probably do something to yourself after I got done with you. But over time, as you go older, you learn how to communicate effectively. You learn how to respect people and know how to handle things in a way that is in a way that grown people will conduct themselves in effective communication. When you learn how to communicate with people with your mouth, and know how to communicate without cussing, without fighting, without crawling, without being mischievous and in your process, then you can have an effective communication and talk about politics. You can talk about spiritualism. You could talk about a lot of things when you know how to communicate. And that is that is why so many people is fighting over politics right now. That's why so many people on the internet, they're fighting, they're quarreling, they're going in because they don't know how to communicate. Even if a conversation rubs you wrong, even if a conversation is touchy for you, you know, if you learn how to say what you're talking about without being nasty and without being rude, you know, you will get a lot farther and you may actually learn something, you know. And it's not always good to always want to talk. Sometimes you're going to have to shut your mouth and just listen to what the other person is talking about. And so many people don't want to do that. They don't want to do that. What they want to do is continue to have a conversation without actually having a real conversation. Okay? Without actually having a real conversation. Okay? So if it's you say for instance I go into the news and I want to have a conversation about immigration of what's going on. I want to talk about what if I want to talk about immigration. What I want to talk about the you know, the illegal situation that's going on with the Hispanic community and things like that. What if I want to have that conversation? Are you able to have that conversation without being disrespectful? Okay, a lot of people don't know how to talk about it without being disrespectful and nasty. They don't know how to do that. You know, they don't know how to do that because their parents was disrespectful. Disrespect is born in you. It didn't have to be something that you were taught from childhood. Okay, it is something that you are taught. A lot of people are taught to be disrespectful. And that's just what it is. And that's why I try to stay away from a lot of people. I try to not to communicate with a lot of people, you know, because I just can't handle it. I can't tolerate it. I can't tolerate it. You know, if I'm not disrespect, of course, you're not going to agree with what I'm saying. I may not agree with everything that you're saying, but I still have a duty to respect your opinion. Okay. I have a duty to respect your opinion. That's your opinion. Okay. If you don't like Donald Trump, that's fine. This is America. You have that right to not like your president. You have that right not to like Obama. You have the you have the right to not like Kamala Harris. You have the right to not like your county judge. Or you have the right to like Donald Trump or to like Kamala Harris. That's your right. You can do that. So what does that mean to me? What it means to me is that I'm going to respect the fact that that is your opinion. And I'm not going to do anything to sabotage you or your opinion or make you feel less because you have an opinion. And people do not know how to respect. It don't matter what color you are. I have seen black folks be disrespectful as hell. I've seen white folks be just as disrespectful as hell. I've seen Hispanics be just as disrespectful as hell. And then I've seen people from other countries who don't even speak our language online being disrespectful. Like, bro, you don't even know how to argue. You don't even speak the English language. You running your mouth. What are you talking about? But that's just that is just the spirit of the land. The spirit of the land is disrespect. People are building their lives off of being bluntly disrespectful. And if that's what you want to do, that's cool. If that's what you want to do, if that's your desire, that's cool for you. That's cool for you and your family, if that's what you want to do. But just keep in mind that you have to be careful with it. You have to be careful because you never know who you're going to see. You never know who you're going to run into. You never know. You just never know who is going to be actually watching you, who is actually going to be watching you. And that's where I'm at right today. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. I love it. I love it. I love effective communication because effective communication does solve a lot of problems and issues. That's why so many of you probably having marriage issues right now. You ain't even talking to your wife appropriately. You're not talking to your husband the way you need to. You're not talking. You're not running your mouth the way you need to. Some people need to just close your laptop, close your phone, and shut everything down and learn how to talk to your baby mama. Okay, learn how to talk. Some of you on child support right now because you can't communicate. You probably have somebody that they don't even want to file no child support. They would rather you just have a conversation, but you can't do that because you're immature and you have the mindset of a child. You have a mindset of a child. You got the spirit of a boy. You have the spirit of a little girl. And when you have the spirit of a boy and a spirit of a little girl, you don't know how to effectively communicate with people. You're nasty, you're disgraceful, you're distasteful. Nobody want to be around you. Your own family separate themselves from you because they know how you are. They know that you're mean, you're stubborn, and you have and you ugly in your spirit. So if you have a dark, ugly spirit, people don't want to talk to you. They don't want to be around you. They don't want to go to the cookout. They don't want you at the cookout. They keep you away from the family reunion. They don't want to have no dealings with you because they know how you are. They know that every time you come around, it seems like mess follow you. It seemed like mess follow you. It seemed like foolishness follow you. It seemed like every time you come around, there's something up with you. It seems like nobody can be at peace when you come around. Every time you come around, you up to something. People don't feel comfortable. They don't feel rewarded by being in your presence. That's when you're messy and you're nasty and you're distasteful. Folks don't want to deal with you. People start neglecting you. They don't want to talk to you. They don't want to have no dealings. They just rather just go ahead and live their life and not fool with you because they already know that when you come around, it's a mess. Every time you come around, it's a mess. It's some junk going on because you don't know how to effectively communicate. So many people, they get a divorce. Why? Because they can't communicate with their spouses. They can't open up their mouth and have a conversation. Sit down and be quiet and be still and listen to the other person communicate. Listen to the other person talk. When you listen to the other person talk, then you find yourself saying, you know what, you're right. You're right. I shouldn't have did that like that. I should have went out and bought this. I should have just, thought it over. I'm willing to fix that. I'm willing to go ahead and do something different with that. Communication saves homes and relationships. Good communication saves homes. It saves relationships. It saves jobs. Okay, some people get fired from their job because all they had to do was say, I'm sorry. Some people get fired from their jobs because all they had to do was just say, I'm sorry. Okay, and they don't want to do that. They don't even want to say, I'm sorry. Okay, they don't even want to admit the fact that they messed up. Okay, they would rather see their entire income go away just because they don't want to say, man, my fault. I did that. I'm sorry. Okay, you could have saved your entire career, but because of your dark heart, okay, and your way of communication, nobody want to deal with what you talk about because you don't know how to effectively talk. You don't know how to effectively have a conversation. If you know how to sit down and have that conversation and know how to, some of you probably need to read an English book or find some new words. Nobody don't want to have a conversation with somebody that every word that come out of their mouth is motherfucker. Okay, every word that come out of their mouth is bitch. Nobody want to talk to you like that. Nobody want to deal with you. Okay, you're used to entertainment on the internet and social media, and you looking at these videos and looking at people act crazy, talk crazy, and people literally start applying social media lifestyle to their real life, not knowing that these people are not living the way that they're telling you to live. These people are not talking to their parents like that. These people are not talking to their wife like that. These people are not talking to the people around them. It's easy to get on the internet and be everything that you want to be because you're looking at somebody else doing something a certain kind of way and not knowing that these people are not even living like that, but you are implementing the negativity feeds of the internet and social media into your personal life, and you're trying to use what they are doing in your personal life, and you're messing up your own life. You're messing up your own welfare, your own self. You're messing up your own agenda of success because you are trying to mimic the internet and how they communicate on the internet. It's easy to get on this internet and say, I'm a bad bitch and I don't play with nobody. Anybody want me, I'm gonna slap the shit out of them. That's how they talk. you know, good laughs, funny videos, and then your ignorant ass, you go and what you do, you go and you imply the same thing into your personal life, and you try to think that you can live your life like that, and you take that same energy, keep that energy, you take that same energy to your job, and think that your job is not gonna fire your ass, and what your job end up doing is getting rid of you immediately. You gotta go immediately. Immediately, your job don't want to have no dealings with you. You done lost your entire career because of your horrible communication skills and your ability to appropriately know how to address things the way you need to address them. It's too many people. It's too many people having a communication problem. That's what's wrong with the world. It's too many people having a communication. Wars start because of bad communication. Okay. Somebody didn't want to talk to somebody. Okay. Somebody didn't want to come to the table and make a deal. Like Trump say, let's make a deal. If you learn how to sit down and communicate and make an honest deal, you can stop a whole lot of stuff. But a lot of people don't give a shit. They don't want to stop it. What they want to do is continue and continue to be disrespectful and think everything is going to be okay. It is not going to be okay. You will never be okay when you are disrespectful. You will never be okay. Listen, that is a spiritual thing that happens when you become disrespectful. You take yourself out of grace. You take yourself out of grace. You take yourself out of perfect will. You take yourself out of the goodness of good karma or blessings or great manifestations. You know, you remove yourself from greatness when you're like when you're nasty and you're distasteful. You remove yourself out of good graces. So that is what it is. That is what it is. You know, I was looking into some things today. I was looking into the news, and I saw so much that was going on, and it was ridiculous. And I literally sometimes have to step back. I have to step back from it. Step back from the news, step back from the articles, step back from a lot of it, just a bunch of unnecessary. If I step back, I'm able to save my my psyche. I'm able to save my conscience from so much. June 19th. June 19th was yesterday, I think. June 20th, whatever, the Black Day, the freed the slaves, whatever day that is. I don't celebrate it. And that's for a reason. Another video for another day. The amount of racism that I seen on the internet on that day, it was disgusting. I had to ask somebody, I say, why do you hate black people like that? I commented on somebody's comment. I said, why do you hate, what black person really hurt you? Tell the truth. Because you got to be honest. A lot of white folks, you ain't hanging around no black folks. A lot of white folks ain't hanging around no black folks. Not the kind of black folks that they don't like. They'll not associate themselves with that. But I tell you what it is. Social media. You sit up on the internet all day and all you see is the negative stuff about black folks. You know, it just comes on your feed all day. The fighting, the wars, the quarreling, the stealing, the murder, the news. You just keep seeing it all day. See, social media just feeding you. See, you're a white man, you're a white woman, and social media just keep feeding you all the black stuff, all the black stuff. It's very rare for you to see a lot of white teenagers fighting on the internet. It's rare. You're not gonna see it. It's hard to see white teenagers fighting. They're not gonna show a lot of it. They hid, they hide it. They just show you all the black pain. They feed you all of the black drama. They're just gonna feed it to you. And once social media feeds you all that black pain, you're a white person. They feed you all that black pain, all that black drama. Once they feed all that stuff to you, as a white person, you started having this hate in your heart for black people. You know, because that's all you see on social media. You're gonna the algorithm is gonna show you black pain all day long. It's gonna feed that stuff to you. It puts it in your spirit. And the more social media feeds you all that black stuff, the black killings, the black fights, the black restaurant disrespects. The social media, because what it's trying to do is trying to feed you, make you think that all black people like this. This is all black people do. This is all they do all day long. They just fight. They just steal. They just go to restaurants. They disrespectful. You have never, not one time, personally experienced it. Some have, but you haven't personally experienced it on such a level as social media is trying to portray. But because you see it so much, you started thinking that you were living it, and you're not living that life because you don't even mess with the people that you dislike. So I asked her, I said, well, why do you hate black people so much? I asked her on a comment, why you hate, what's wrong? She said, black folks don't know how to respect the law. I said, well, ma'am, you can't say just black people disrespect the law. You know, I've seen a bunch of videos where white kids disrespect the law. I just saw an article yesterday where a young white boy, he killed his grandmother and his sister in the house at the same time. I just saw a video where a white lady got tased down, brutally tased down by a police officer because she said that she is above the law. But because you keep feeding yourself black pain, that's what social media do. It just feeds y'all. It feed it to you. Once it feeds you all that black pain, that black trauma, all that stuff in your heart, you start saying, "I can't stand a nigger. I can't stand no nigger." You know, that's social media, and that's why sometimes you have to take a step back, and you just have to say, you know what, that's enough. I had to do that today. I said, you know what, that's enough. That's enough. Because all I saw was just June 19 conversations, June 19 trauma. All the white folks were just going in. They were just mad. There's just a mad day for all white folks, and I don't even know why. You know, your ancestor was the owner. What you mad for? Your ancestor was the owners. What the fuck you mad for? I'm the one supposed to be upset, but I'm not. You know, I'm a grown man. I've learned to move on mentally from that stuff. I don't look at a lot of slave stuff, a lot of slave movies. And I know about the history. I know my history. I don't have to go seeking out movies about slavery. I don't want to see no movies and stuff about slavery and all that. I know a lot about all that. Okay? I can lecture that stuff from back to front, all the way. Okay? I'm one of the first ones who started talking about black folks. A lot of black folks came from Mexico. Okay? Before you had a Cinco de Mayo. We the ones who gave you a Cinco de Mayo. I know my history. So I don't need to go out looking for more slave stories. So if anybody need to be mad, it need to be me. But for some reason on June 19th, all the white people was mad. They was upset because you let social media feed you a bunch of bullshit all day long. So now you start developing a term. You start saying that, oh, black fatigue. It's not black fatigue. It's just that's all you look for on the internet. So your algorithm is feeding you what you like. So it can mess with your heart and it can mess with your mind. The algorithms are made to feed you what would mess with your internal system so that you could keep back coming for more. See the soul, when your soul not clean, it loves drama. An unclean soul loves drama. It feeds off drama, it feeds off pain, it feeds off bitterness, it feeds off anguishness, it feeds off of it. The more drama that you can get, the more drama you can get, the more a dark soul wants. And if you keep feeding your dark soul that drama, it's gonna want more and more. And the algorithms is made to keep feeding you what you like. So if you likes looking at black folks all day doing stupid stuff, guess what your algorithm is going to be? If you sit at home all day talking about, you already know social media is listening to you. You already know that. You know, every time you accept cookies on that website, when you mention Oreos, and you get, and you at home, you say, "Hey, bring me that box of Oreos," and then all of a sudden you go on social media, you open up your phone, and guess what you see? A Oreo commercial. It's listening to what you like. So what you like is what you're attracting. You are building the algorithm of your phone, the algorithm of your computer, your iPad, all that stuff. So you're feeding yourself black pain, black drama, and black trauma all day long. You love that shit. You want to see it. So I stepped back from social media. I had to step back. I had to step back and say, well, I'm not gonna look at social media today because I don't want to be pissed off today. So I'm just gonna just leave it alone, and I'm just gonna do something different today because I don't want to keep feeding myself the drama. Okay, so that's just what it is. When you learn how to effectively communicate, effectively apply peace around you and in your life, you get away from the bull and you start doing something different. Don't forget, y'all, hope y'all subscribe and share the video and have this conversation in your personal lives. Listen, that's what it's for. That you can sit back and have a conversation in your personal life, man. You can talk about it with other people. You can have other conversations or whatever the case may be. That's what this conversation was about. It's about, just, thinking about that effective communication, thinking about applying certain things in your life so that you can be a better person. I desire every day to be different, to do something different, to make sure that I am mentally sane and able and capable to move my life forward the way I need to. If I am not able to move my life forward, I am miserable. I cannot. I don't know how to be stagnated. I don't want to be stagnated. I don't want to be in the same place I was yesterday. I want to be in a better place. So y'all go ahead and subscribe, share the video, and go ahead and support me. I'm just a little short, fat boy from Texas. I'm just trying to grow my little bitty channel. Nobody listens to me, okay? I get about 3 or 4 people on the live. I just started. I don't know much. But if you go ahead and subscribe and share the video, it'll help me a lot. And I'd be able to come back with some more stuff that'll blow your mind. Peace out. Y'all stay blessed all day long.